right. Looks like we're live. Thank you everyone that's been waiting. Just looking over a few things here. So today we're going to be looking at how the helmet was created in the iPad teaser. If you haven't seen that, go check that out on our YouTube channel. It's also on our Instagram as well. But we've been having some questions from the community of people have been wanting to know exactly how the helmet was created, and so we're going to take a closer look at that today. And it'll be another great opportunity to look at the iPad app and just have a look at how we can approach making things in the app. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone for joining. You can go download the app for free today on the App Store. So if you haven't tried it yet and you have an iPad, yeah, go check it out, go download it, and go let us know what you think of it. It's currently in development still. We have released it to the public, but we would like a lot of feedback because there is going to be a significant update to the app later this year, and so feedback is greatly appreciated because that will contribute to what is actually updated in that final update. So yeah, anyway, without further ado, we can just go ahead and get started. It's probably not going to be as long of a session today, but we're just going to dive into how the helmet was made, maybe do a little bit of a demo on some things with that, and then that'll be it. So we're trying to be more consistent with these iPad live sketches to help the community just wrap their head around creating things with the app. A couple things to mention if you're new to the app as well. The landing pad connects directly to the app, so anything you make in the VR app, you will be able to also access and open inside of the iPad app as well. So this is a sketch by Leon Laverda, and then it's basically made with like a bunch of planes and see if I can turn that off. Maybe turn that on. Yeah, basically like a bunch of planes and strokes and stuff, and it's really cool. It's like a 3D. Oh shoot! It looks like it's black. Let's see. Let me see if I can fix that real quickly. Okay, just bear with me for a sec. I'm just trying to get the app to stream here. There we are. Okay, we're back. Okay, I think I might need to reload the, yeah, there we go. All right, sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so this is a sketch by Leon Laverda, and it's made by a bunch of strokes and planes and things like that. So it's really cool. You can do some really amazing stuff with the iPad app. It's Gravity Sketch in 2D, and so that obviously changes things, changes how you approach things a little bit since it's on a 2D, environment, or sorry, a 2D interface, but it's a 3D environment still, and so, but you can do in cool stylistic environments like this, which we're going to try and see if we can get some training content out there and some tutorials on how to do some stuff like this as we move along. But yeah, so there's lots of inspirational stuff already being made by the community. just check out the Gravity Sketch check out hashtag Gravity Sketch iPad, and you'll see some pretty amazing stuff. We have a challenge right now going on that's we're gonna post the results tomorrow, where we've challenged the community to create a camera in the iPad app and then do some more work with it in Procreate or Photoshop, and just to have people try out that workflow of working in 3D on the app on an iPad, and then continuing to do your traditional workflow right on the same device on 2D or Photoshop, Wacom, whatever you use. But so there's lots of different useful workflows. If we go back to the lobby here, this is probably going to go black again. I've realized that this streaming thing I'm using, it'll go black once I open up another sketch. So why don't we just go right into the helmet sketch here. If you're in the app and you go to gallery, you can actually find the helmet sketch that was featured in the teaser right here in the gallery, along with some other really great preloaded sketches. And feel free to just break them down, go into edit mode and see how they were made, and turn off and on the layers, and see how it was all done. We also have training videos inside the app as well. I'm going to go and open this, and yes, it went black like I thought. So let me just go ahead and refresh. Refresh the app real quickly, and we'll just get right into it. Okay, and here we are. Okay, so we have our helmet, and this is what we're going to be looking at today. Because there was, and the reason why we're doing this, if you're just joining, the reason why we're doing this video is people were asking how to create this, and so we're just going to break it down. And we did post a breakdown video, but this is just going to go a little bit more in depth, and hopefully bring a little more clarity. And you can make some, hopefully it'll give you some inspiration on how to make some more complex things as well. So if we go over to our layers, you can find the layers icon up here at the top right, indicated by these two overlapping squares, basically. And this is where you can find the layers for the sketch. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn off all the layers except for the side sketch. You'll see that the visor here is actually in 3D, but I would just ignore that for a minute. But essentially, the sketch started like this. I mean, there was some rough sketching underneath it, and you can get really loose. Like, you can, if I add another layer and I just call it rough or something. Rough, done. Yeah, if I just call it rough and I just start sketching, I can be really loose. I'm going to turn my brush size down just a little bit. That's too small. So somewhere around there, I can get really loose. I also want to change my, let's see, I don't know if I have, trying to see if I have, it's supposed to be tapering a little bit. It might not be, I might have a setting off or something like that. But basically, you can sketch really loosely and just, be really free with it. It's really gestural, and then those are all 3D curves that you can go and edit at a later time. So anyway, we have this sketch, this side sketch, and then I immediately started pulling it out in 3D. And what that means is the plane is not quite in the center, so I'm going to go ahead and move that, and this is great to learn for this little part here. So what we want to go is we want to go to the top view, and we want to move our plane a little bit more center in view, just so we can see it better. You'll notice that the plane is not quite there. Let me see here. It's kind of a guessing game here, so just put it right there, just so it makes more sense where it's at. But basically, we're in a mode right now where we have this button here. So if we click on the question button, and we click on the draw plane reposition, I think it's called, I guess there's not really a name, but it says reposition the draw plane. Basically, wherever you're looking, wherever you're facing, this will position the draw plane to that view. So that's what this function does. And so if we move, we'll see that it repositions to that front view. If we stay right here and we press it again, it'll orient to that view as well. So it's pretty useful tool, pretty useful for just reorienting things pretty easily. And so if we click the question button again and we click this button, this is draw plane camera and free camera toggle. So right now we are in free camera toggle. Or I think we're in draw plane camera. Yeah, so this is draw plane camera. And this basically means that wherever I look, the draw plane is always facing me. So wherever I sketch, I can sketch like this, sketch like that. And all these sketches are on different planes basically. And so it's pretty useful for, I'd say it's a great way to sketch things quickly in 3D without having to reposition and then everything. It's less precise. And then of course the other mode that we just discussed is this one. And we're just going to align to that view, align to this view. So now it's perfectly straight. And then we're just going to, using the slider, we're just going to move it a little bit to the center. Anyway, so you can see by the visor here that it was pulled out. So why don't we just go ahead and demo that really quickly. If we go here into edit mode, how we do that is we click the arrow at the top, and then we select the stroke that we want to edit, and then we click the dotted icon at the bottom of the screen. This will show us the points that we can manipulate, and then we can start pulling them around. So you can see that this sketch has actually a mirrored curve to it. So in order to correctly manipulate this curve, we're going to pull it out just like that. I think we want, yeah, we want that one. And then get our other ones here. Pull all of these out. I usually just get them pulled out so I can see them all, so I can get a proper view of where they all are. And we've pulled them all on that plane. And if you go to side view, we can begin to position them where they need to be. Here we go. And so now we have our visor roughly placed where we need it to be. Actually, we need to fix that. Forgot about that, that view. If we go to edit mode again, here we are. Okay, so now we should have it roughly placed where it should be. But as you can see, that's how you would edit those points to, and then you basically continue to massage it and continue to get it where it needs to be. And eventually you get this result here. And so using that same logic, I'm going to turn on the rest of the sketch. And you can get all kinds of 3D curves by adding and subtracting complexity. I'm gonna demonstrate that again real quick by turning off that so we don't have a whole lot to look at. I'm gonna start manipulating the bottom curve here at the bottom of the yeah, I guess that one. The bottom of the helmet here. And so you can see there's a number of curves. If we, you'll see some plus or minus icons at the bottom of the screen here. And those icons will add or subtract density to your curve. And so if we if we subtract, it further simplifies it. So we're just gonna undo that. Or we can add a lot more, and you can see it adds like a ton of points. And this is just way too many points and quite cumbersome to work with. So that's a way that you can add points. And then if you want to delete specific ones that you don't need, we can, like this one, we can select that one and then click the trash can. And then there you go, we don't have it anymore. So we have a more simplified curve. We want to try and get curves down to the least amount of control points possible, and this is a good principle with any type of spline modeling or anything that references a curve or profile. You want that curve to be using as little control points as possible so that it's the smoothest and most accelerated, smoothest curve that you can get. So we're just going to maybe this will work. Yeah. So this is something you can do if you're in a 3D view, and if you're like looking vertically, say you have something that loops all the way around like this. Well, this is pretty easy to work with from a side view, right? But it's a little tricky when you're working from a perfectly top view because you don't really know which points are on the bottom, which are on the top, and it's a little bit hard to understand. So by using the modified keys, that's kind of what I call it, but there might be a name for it here. Yeah, this is called the square button. So this button, while holding it down, it gives you additional functions and features inside the app. So what we can do is we can go into edit mode, undo that. So go into edit mode, point mode here, hold the square, and then you're able to manipulate these points in 3D space, and they are snapped to the axis. So now, and it also is it's also a multi-select as well. So I can tap multiple points, manipulate them, which is great. But also keep in mind, if you've just edited another one, you'll have to deselect it so that you don't continue editing other ones. Turn that off. And so you can pull these out. And this gives you a way to there we go. This gives you a way to edit the points without moving them in weird spots. Because if we didn't do that, if we didn't hold down the square, it would just move in weird places and it would mess up our profile. See, it moved it down, and that's not where we want it to be. So you can see the integrity of the side profile is maintained, but we've been able to pull them out in 3D. So obviously this is not the shape we want, but that's fine. We can still hold the square too if we want them to be perfectly aligned when we're manipulating them. just continuing to pull these out. And then we actually might need, well, maybe we can pull, maybe we can actually this might have to start going back in, I'm thinking. Something like that, roughly. And then you can see that it's coming up to a point up here. So now we want to go back to this rear view. And again, we can hold it. And now we've got a nice arc there in the back. So you can see now that that's how you can manipulate the curves. And so that's what I would recommend if you have something that's looping around and you can't really kind of see what everything's doing. I would just go in the 3D view and just hold the square and manipulate your curves using that so it's locked to that profile still and you're not losing that original profile design. I believe, let me see. So we don't really pull this part out in 3D, the top bit here, this one, because that's going to define our surfaces. And then that pretty much moves us into the next part of this, which is how to create those surfaces that we saw on the helmet. And we're just going to turn our sketch on here. And you'll see this is our curves. These are all the curves we did. This here is actually a plane. So if I click on it, this is a planar surface. So this is just something I use to fill it in. And same principles apply to that as the curves. Just draw out your plane and then move it to shape. So to switch your tools, you just go up here top to the tools menu here and click the planar volume and draw out your shape. And just like all the other modes, we can plus or minus, add complexity, and we can manipulate that shape. And then we can also pull on this arrow to create thickness as well. Additionally, if you want to manipulate or if you want to change the material, there are different material options here, but because it's pure black, it's kind of hard to see. But yeah, if we move it here to like a lighter color, this is our cartoon shader, I believe. Yeah, this is like reflective, basic, and so you can see got a nice toon texture to that. But you know, same principles apply to manipulating the shapes. Now, because this is a planar, volume, you don't really have to worry about locking the points to an axis when you're manipulating in 3D because it's already planar, planarly locked. If we go to, let's see, yeah, so, and then let me go ahead and delete that because I don't really need that anymore. So that's what that is, and then we have also some revolved surfaces here too. So I can briefly cover that as well. If you go into edit mode, you can pull those points out. You can see you have, you know, those are revolved surfaces that have been made. So we can go to this one, and basically how we can do that is let's see, if we do revolve, yeah, just go down here to the revolve tool, and what we do is go to top view. Let's see here. Oops. We go, yeah. Okay, so we have our axes there. But I'm trying to remember how to move the axes. So I believe we can move it by going into free camera mode. Let's delete that. So if we position it about there, we should be able to draw it, yeah. So that's how you would do it. I'm gonna make it a different color, like a green color so we can see. But basically, you align it where you want it to be drawn. So we have, so that you don't actually move the axis of the revolve. You can see that the axis is a vertical axis there. And so what we need to do is we need to go into the, I'm trying to remember what it's called, draw plane camera. Yeah, so we need to go into the draw plane camera mode. And that means, again, for anybody new that's joining, the draw plane camera mode is wherever you're looking, that is the plane you're sketching on. So as it's applied for the sketches, it also applies for the revolve tool as well. So if we move, you know, we can draw, like, continue to draw some more revolve shapes. You can see they're all on different planes, because wherever we're facing is the draw plane. So that's how you can get that that revolve at an angle, is getting that camera view, and then just align it to the axis that you want to draw on. So I'm going to try and delete this one. Align it just a little bit. Here we go. Oops. And then also we should throw this into a mirror as well. And it should mirror it on the other side. There we go. And then you can just position this more where we want it to be. So now it's got like little Shrek ears. And then we're just going to turn off the revolve tool so we don't need that anymore. Got multiple planes here. Let's turn the mirror off because we don't really need that right now. And we're going to move the sketch plane where we need it to be. It's back in the center. Cool. So that's how we do revolves. It's a few steps, but I would say with a lot of these tools in the app, once you get into the flow and into the hang of using them, it's going to become a lot faster to use. So you will find yourself speeding up your workflow pretty quickly. But like with any tool, it's a little bit of a learning curve. But once you get it, it's really freeing. And that's the same with the VR app as well. So as soon as you just get familiar with some of the tools and basic functions, then you're off to the races, of course. So let's go ahead and turn on the ribbon. And so the reason why it's called ribbon is because that's actually what the surfaces are made of. So right now, there is no sub-D surfacing in the Gravity Sketch iPad app. Right now, what we have for surfaces are ribbons, which is kind of a pseudo surface. It's technically a type of stroke, but it's sort of also a surface as well. But it's a great way to fake surfaces in the app. Sub-D is something that we will have in the update later this year to the app. And you might have noticed, if you've already played around with the app already, if you have a sketch that was made in the Gravity Sketch VR app, and you save it to Landing Pad, and you're able to open it right inside of right inside of the iPad app as well here and manipulate all the points, all the sub D points. So that does work. You just can't really create sub D surfaces, like create new ones or anything. But you can manipulate ones that have already been made. And I think there's going to be some UI around that to help optimize it for a 2D workflow. It looks like we got a few things here on the chat. Let's see. Extra points at the vertical of a ribbon. This is awesome. I was looking forward to detailed breakdown of this helmet. Awesome. Yeah, great. Glad this is helpful. So removing control points. Let me just go over that one more time. I don't know. It says thanks for not knowing how to remove them. I'm not. Maybe that's a typo, but just so you know. So in order to remove them, we go into edit mode and we click the dotted icon here, and so you see we have points. All you got to do is just select a point and then hit the little trash can over here at the top, at the right side, and that'll delete that point. And so we can actually hold down the cube and select multiple points, like individual points, and we can delete all those. Maybe that doesn't work actually. I've actually never tried that before. So let's try that one more time. Let's try it with this top piece. So if I select multiple points, click the little trash can. Okay, that does work. So if you select multiple points while holding the square, you can delete multiple points at the same time. Anyway, so that's a great way to do it. Well, let me see if the box select mode works for that as well. So do that. Yep. So we can also box select points. If we I believe if we go left to right, that will select all the points inside the box, and then right to left is anything the box is touching, or it might be the reverse of that. But yeah, you basically get the point. There's many ways to select multiple points and delete them. So, but moving on to the ribbons. So just like we went through all of the strokes and the best practices for laying down some strokes and then manipulating them, I would say it applies very much the same to the ribbons as well. And so if we go here to select our surfaces, you can see that there's multiple surfaces on this helmet, and they were put on this way in order to kind of hide the seams of where they're located a little bit. Now, if this was sub D, you could probably make this whole white piece like one piece of sub D, like it could be just one, but we don't have that yet. So let's go into editing just this side piece since it's pretty simple. If we just go into edit mode, we can see all of our edit points just like everything else, and we can start pulling them around. And so you can see that because we did that in 3D, we didn't lock to any axis, just kind of went in random places. But we can move these points in a vertical or sort of horizontal fashion in a way that makes sense. So if we go to our side view, just like with strokes, you can edit the curve at where it needs to be, and then from the top view, continue editing where you need it, where it needs to go. You can fine tune it that way. And if it's kind of hard to see what it's doing, you can just again go to that 3D view like we were doing before with the curves. Oops. Got a low battery. I'm streaming the iPad screen as well as using the app, so it's probably draining the battery a lot. I'll have to plug it in. But we can move it along the axis and get it perfectly where we want it to be. We've got another point here. Just want to pull that right out. There we go. And so that's how we manipulate the points. The way you draw one, let's say, why don't we fill in the visor? How about we do that? We actually have a layer for that, but we can do a new one. And let's just call it Visor 2. Done. And we'll go to our side view. And what we'll do is we'll go and select the ribbon tool. And we're going to turn mirror on. And what we're going to do is make sure, first of all, the mirror is on the correct plane. Yeah, mirror's good. So we're just going to draw it out, right? And it's a little curve. Let's make it a little bit bigger. It's a lot, maybe too big. There we go. And green, I actually like that color. So we're going to go into edit mode, and you can see we've got a bunch of points and way too many points. We really don't need that many. So we're just going to hit the little minus button and get it down to like 3 points just for simplicity. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start pulling the points out. So we want, let's see, I need to go to 3D so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, yeah, so we're just going to get those points together. Hold that so they come together. Let's get the side view here. Make sure they're right where they need to be. We can get the profile right where we want it. And I'm going to put it there. I'm going to add a few more points. And now we can go to the side view here. And start pulling these out the side way. On 8%, I feel like the iPad's gonna die here in a second. So why don't we, might need to take a pause real quickly. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to go get my charger to make sure the iPad does not die. All right, plugged in. Hopefully it doesn't die still. Okay. So you can see what we're doing here though, how this visor is made, and basically the basic principle behind manipulating these ribbon surfaces. So let's go ahead and finish this up. I'm going to go into point mode, and I'm just going to make sure. Probably want to use the cube for that. Oops. Deselect that one. Move that out. So let's see here. Let's go to top view. Side view. We need a few more points. So only add points when you absolutely need it, and delete ones you don't need. So we don't need those. We just need those ones at that edge. And so we're slowly getting this visor to the shape we want. Just gonna move those where they need to be. And that's approximately the shape of it. Let's just fix the top bit just a little bit. Select the visor, edit mode, bring that in just a little bit, and there we go. And then what we can do is we can just put it to a slight transparency, and now it's a transparent visor. So that is how the rest of the surfaces on the helmet was made, by basically laying down a stroke, or sorry, laying down a ribbon stroke, and then manipulating the points. And I would again advise starting with like the least amount of points possible to make your surface, and then add points using the plus and minus tools to add complexity, and then delete the ones you don't need. That's how I would approach making surfaces, as well as doing strokes as a workflow. So let me go ahead and turn that one off, and I'll show you the final one here, the original. Anyway, that about sums up the process of making this helmet. Let's see. If you have any questions, please ask. Happy to answer. This the workflow for using the app and for making things is a discovery process for us as well. And so we're seeing some amazing stuff from the community, people making some really interesting things. Check out our challenge, and we'll be posting the results for our week challenge. If you want to hurry up and put your submission in tonight, you can go ahead and just make it and post it on Instagram, #GravitySketchChallenge hashtag, and we'll be sure to share your submission as well. But basically, the challenge right now is to create like a camera in the iPad app, and then bring it into Photoshop or Procreate to do some further 2D work or sketching over top of it. Yeah, so let's see, got some questions here. Can you edit the same sketch on the iPad? Let's see, got some questions here. Can you edit the same sketch on the iPad and the Quest, or is it a different platform? Yeah, so the answer is yes, you can. So this whole helmet I've made here on an iPad. This is saved in the cloud, so if I go into VR and I go into my cloud files, I will find this file, and I can open it right inside Gravity Sketch VR and continue editing it and continue working on it in VR. And of course, I can, at that point use like Sub D and everything, because the VR app has subdivision surfaces. But the same it works for the reverse. So I can create something in Gravity Sketch VR and save to the cloud, and then continue editing it, working on it on the iPad as well. Obviously, the iPad does not have as many tools, features as the VR app does. So it's more kind of like moving points around, editing, if it's simple stuff. But we're going to be adding more tools and features to the iPad app later this year. And so your feedback is greatly appreciated on that. Tom Nash, is it possible to add extra points on the vertical of a ribbon? So I'm assuming, I think I know what you mean. So is it possible to add, so let me change the color here to like a red so we can see this, and ink stroke. So we've got like, oopsies. Where's our, okay, let me turn off the, I think I'm drawing on an invisible plane right now. That's why. I was like, why can't I see my strokes? It's because I was drawing on an invisible layer. So let's turn, here we go. Oh, by the way, earlier I was trying to remember which it is as far as the box select goes. So if it's left to right, if it's inside the box, it will select it. If it's right to left, anything the box touches will be selected. So, little tip there. Anyway, yeah, so if we're in a side view here, I'm just going to draw. I'm going to move the plane this way. So if I draw this for this curve, we've got these profiles, or these curves, and so there's like little points like this on each side. I think what you're asking is, can you add points in the center as well? And the answer is no, because a ribbon surface just has two ends to it. Does not have in the middle. That would begin to turn it into like a NURB surface, or like a kind of getting into sub D territory. So we don't have that yet for the iPad app, but will be coming later this year in the next update. So yeah. Yeah, so the planar toggle. So yeah, great question. That is this slider here to the left. So you can see the slider there. As soon as I touch it, it will extend to the whole screen, and I can then move it across. And this is just a really easy way to move the plane and shift it. So if I want to sketch something on the side of the helmet, like on this side of it, and I turn the mirror on or something, I can begin, sketching something, and it will appear on that plane, and then I can begin to shift it inward, and I can draw another sketch. And so it's a way to shift the plane around. It's the draw plane, basically. And then if I want to move the plane really easily, like I mentioned in the beginning, I can click this button here on the right, and you may not have seen it. I'll hold it down so you can see it's purple, this button here. That will move the plane to wherever I'm facing. So if I'm facing this way, yeah, so that now it's at an angle to the helmet there. And just to realign it, you just go to the views, just use the navigation cube. So you click on the different sides of the cube, and it will snap you to that view. You can also look in a sort of a perspective view too. So this is like not orthographic. This would be like, trying to remember the term, but non-orthographic. Now this is, so you can change the views there. And then, yeah, so that's how you manipulate the draw plane. It's really, really, really intuitive once you, it quickly becomes very understandable once you start using it. It just takes some getting, especially if you're coming from VR. And I've been using VR for a while now, and jumping back into 2D. It's been a little bit of a learning curve, but not much. As I've spent a little bit of time, it's been able to get very, very quick for my workflow. There's something else I wanted to say. You can also rotate your scene using this little dot here as well. But the navigation cube and manipulating the plane are really, really useful for navigating in your scene and sketching on things. We just have different settings here. We can turn on our axes, our ground plane, if we prefer to work with that. And there's all kinds of other little settings here that we can have on. But yeah, again, if you want to learn the basics, there are tutorials inside the app that you can watch too. So these cover all of the basic functions inside the app, and you don't need to go anywhere else. You can just turn the little click the little learn button and go through these videos, and this will show you everything inside the app. And then you can get sketching. And for some inspiration, like I mentioned before, go to the hashtag #GravityStage_iPad hashtag on Instagram, and there's some cool stuff already that people have been doing. And yeah, so if you get the iPad app, make stuff, share it, post it. We want to see it. We love seeing the work, and we really want to see how people get along with it, and what people think, as well as just seeing any new workflows. We've been seeing some things that have been surprising. So really cool. We really appreciate all of your support. Also, go check out our blog post as well that we wrote about the iPad app and the whole vision of the Gravity Sketch ecosystem and how this fits into things. Yes, we are still developing for the VR app as well. That's been a question from some people. Are we going to be still doing stuff for the VR app? The answer is yes, absolutely. That's still the main tool for Gravity Sketch. But the iPad is meant to also connect those that are more used to like a 2D workflow and maybe don't have access to VR. So it's a lower barrier to entry, and it's obviously free. And all you need is an iPad basically. And then obviously the interconnectivity of connecting to landing pad and be able to use everything together. So let me just show a quick example of what I mentioned on being able to open up something that was made actually originally in VR. I'll open up this Boba Fett one. The screen's going to go black again, so let me just go ahead and fix that. Here we are. Okay, cool. So this is the Boba Fett model that was made. You can see the reference images are in here too. They're locked to the view, so that's why they're kind of floating around there like that. But you can see this is actually a sub-D surface, and I'm looking at it and viewing it right now in the iPad app. And so let me turn off mirror because that's getting a little bit in the way. And then I'm gonna go to it's kind of tough to view a little bit, isn't it? There we go. Just wanted to get that a little bit out of the way. But basically, if we go into edit mode here, select like the arm, we can manipulate all those points for sub D. I accidentally selected a face. Yeah, there we go. So we can select individual points, and I believe if we plus or minus, oh no, see the plus minus doesn't work for this. So it hasn't been built to work with sub D yet. But you can see there are points. There are the points that you can manipulate and move them around. So you can at least move them around, but you can't really create anything yet. We can also look at the helmet here too. Go to edit mode, you can see all the points that was made for that. So we're going to get all into some great workflows for that in the future, I'm sure, once sub D gets implemented on the iPad app. It'll be really cool to have sub D functionality on a mobile device. So yes, thank you everyone for joining. We're just going to conclude it there. I hope you learned a thing or two from this little session today on how to manipulate strokes and make some complex looking things, but hopefully you've realized that it's really some pretty simple tools and functions on how to use this stuff and how to make it. So I guess thank you very much for watching, and yeah, go download the app. If you have an iPad, go download it, and let us know what you think. Give us your feedback. Share your work with the Gravity Sketch iPad hashtag, as well as hashtag Gravity Sketch. And yeah, got one more question. Can you import custom models? There's no really importing or exporting from the iPad app right now. It's basically within the app. Of course, you can save on landing pad, and if you have VR, you can go in the VR app and continue working, import some things there, and actually export as well, like OBJ and everything. But there's not really any export or import functions right now with the iPad app. So that will be coming later as well. I'll just tell you that the vision for landing pad is, or for exporting rather, especially for iPad, is to actually use landing pad to export things. So the idea is that you would save your file to landing pad, and then landing pad itself would export OBJ or FBX or things like that. And I believe you'll be able to import that way as well. I'm actually not quite sure, but that will be coming down the line with things. So it does connect to VR still, but it's all through landing pad. So if you don't have a landing pad account, go make that today. Very, very useful, very helpful. You get a bunch of free storage as well, so it's really useful. It's got the web viewer, and it's really, really helpful. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and tune in next week. We're going to try and be consistent with these iPad demos. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. Bye now.